Welcome back to another episode of the 2020 podcast. Today I'm joined by Vai Thankaraja and we're going to be speaking about quite a few topics. So we've got, first of all, entrepreneurship for teenagers. So we're looking at how younger people can actually get involved with entrepreneurship, businesses, just like we did. We're also taking a look at social media marketing. We're taking a look at brand awareness, and we're going to be finishing up with a couple of tips for those that are looking to grow their social media platforms as well. This podcast is actually hosted by VTMA, a social media marketing agency. So make sure you check them out as well. If you're tuning in on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel. That is youtube.com/the2020 podcast. And if you're tuning in on Spotify or SoundCloud, make sure you subscribe to those channels as well.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true, but the world is pretty cold. You might need a sweater too.
How many years has it been since we've met?
December 2014, so coming up to 5 years.
I don't know how many people actually keep a date on when they meet someone. But you've done that. Why did you do that?
Business, isn't it? So, we met through business, obviously.
Yeah.
And I remember the year, the month, the date.
Wow.
I started the business.
Do you remember the conversation we had?
Yes, so much so you you made me convert my actual
religion.
study from
Convert your religion. That was me. I was giving dawah.
convert my study from accounting to herbal medicine, actually.
Yeah. Actually, I remember that because when I first met you, you were studying accounting at university. Was it first or second year?
First
year, so really early on. And why did you want to do accounting in the first place?
Typical Asian degree, innit?
Yeah.
So it's like so I studied biology, chemistry, maths and accounting for A levels. So I had 4 A levels, studied it all the way through. And I wanted to get into medicine, and I got, what did I get? 2 A's and 2 B's. And
that's decent.
Yeah, a B in B in biology. And most medical degrees require AAA.
Yeah.
And a UK CAT score of some stupid like 780 or 800.
Yeah.
Didn't get that. Didn't come to the mark. And it got to the point where I started to think, what else I can do? What's my plan B?
Yeah.
So then I went into accounting through clearing in Queen Mary. So
where did you apply to for medicine then?
Medicine, it was King's, Southampton, Queen Mary again.
Yeah.
And 2 more other universities.
Okay.
But long story short, I didn't get in.
Yeah.
Went into my plan B, accounting and management, and studying that for about 3 months before I met you.
Yeah.
And after our conversation,
you changed it to herbal medicine.
Herbal medicine.
Herbal medicine. So you kind of went back towards a medicinal kind of route, but it was why herbal medicine? Because a lot of people don't understand what herbal medicine is about, and they might be thinking a few things about what. Why herbal medicine?
Yeah, why and what it is.
Yeah.
I think I started to... So when I jumped out of accounting, I couldn't just jump straight into herbal medicine. So I had some time to think about what I want to do. And, you want to get philosophical with my purpose in life and stuff like that. And started researching about medicine and pharmacology and drugs and stuff like that. And the effects of drugs and the whole business side of things.
Yeah.
And I began to understand it's, albeit a tad controversial, it's, the way drugs are prescribed nowadays, it's not more for about a cure, but more of a temporary solution. So you can get onto bigger and more stronger drugs, hence more profit for drug companies.
Because I remember you actually told me one day when I was I think I was ill one day, and I think it was Lemsip, and you were like, oh bro, make sure you don't have that too often, or don't have that, find a different kind of thing. Why was that? Because a lot of people have Lemsip, and they think that is a cure for their cold and their flu or whatever it is they're going through.
Yeah, you look into Lemsip, it has aspects of paracetamol and stuff like that in it. So it's basically the equivalent of taking a tablet, but it's just in a powder form.
Right.
So, and when I understood more about plants and natural remedies, it's when I started to recommend it a bit more. And I was one of those people who, started to use it myself. So I was a product of what I was recommending.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So going back to my degree, so then took about a few months to understand medicine and the medical field, pharmacology. Wasn't a part of who I was as a person, so I decided to research amongst other forms of medicine.
Yeah.
You know, because one thing about me, I just wanted to help people. I didn't know how, but I just want to help people.
Yeah, yeah.
So then jumped into research into herbal medicine. I clocked that through a museum in what was it? I think it was a science museum, and there was a little store talking about Ayurvedic medicine, which is Indian medicine for short.
Okay.
And they talked about thousands and thousands of years of treating people through plants. That includes, you know, big diseases like cancer and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
That again is a big controversy with cancer. So that got me intrigued, and I started to research about, you know, if herbal medicine, if they do that as a study, an educational degree.
Yeah.
Of which there were 2 universities in the UK, which was one in Lincoln.
Yeah.
And 20 minutes on the Victoria line, which is in Warren Street.
Okay.
And decided to choose the University of Westminster to study my degree, and went from there.
Awesome. And obviously we met through business, and I think I think I was 19. Were you 19?
Yeah, so 2014, let's count the years. 19
around 19 years old. And I thought, you know what, as I've got you on the show, and you know, we've had a lot of deep conversations, and we've gone through quite a bit growing up from 19 to the age that we're at right now. For those that are listening in and watching this as well, people that want to start a business, especially teenagers that want to start a business.
Yes.
You know, I wanted to kind of brainstorm, not even brainstorm, I just wanted to kind of bounce off these ideas, because I feel like starting a business as a teenager for myself had huge benefits on my character, huge benefits on my skills as well, growing up, even though right now I'm in a teaching career, but yet I'm still doing things outside of that for other purposes, because I've always had that belief where, you know, I am very entrepreneurial. I do want to kind of succeed in entrepreneurship in one way, shape or form. So for those that are young, for those that have never had a business before, and for those that haven't got lots of money to invest into a business, you know, what's in today's day and age, how would they go about that?
One word: the internet. Like 2 words: the internet. The internet has, the way it's grown at the moment, it's made it so much easier for an everyday person to get started in a business, whether that's becoming an influencer, whether that's coming into becoming a YouTuber, whether it's starting a marketing website like myself. You know, the cost has been reduced from rent, rates, even paying employees, for an example, you know, setting up a location. And the biggest advantage of the internet, it's worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, you especially because you have a traditional business background as well.
Yes.
With your family business, so you can actually make a better comparison. And my dad's had a grocery shop as well, so I know there's so many headaches with traditional businesses, like you said, the location, having an actual place, paying the rent, electricity, paying for staff, you know, so many different things, as opposed to the internet where it's officeless or shopless, and you don't really need much money to invest into, you know, a lease or anything really. But then there are some kind of not disadvantages, but there are still hurdles and challenges, even if you are starting online or starting as an internet-based business.
Sure.
What kind of things have you faced, you know, that you've seen that these are challenges if you were even starting up online?
Okay. So starting up a website, for an example, understanding, for example, if you want to build it from scratch, understanding Java and C++, the programming behind it. Also understanding, you know, your domain name, for example. If, you know, your domain name doesn't sound appetizing, or it's not short, it's not brief, it's not memorable, for an example, that could be a disadvantage, because, you know, you want to market yourself as someone who has a very simplistic website. And, you know, you can understand from, you know, the internet that, you know, the way everyone has set up their websites, you know, you've got a lot of competitors out there, which is key. Regardless of what industry you're in, you're always going to have competition. So my question will always be, what's your USP, which is unique selling point? What sets you aside from 100,000 companies out there who've done the exact same thing you have? You know, what makes me, for an example, if you've if you've gone into supplements and protein shakes, you know, if I was to go, all right, cool, you just started that, but I can go to, for example, My Protein. You know, what differs you from My Protein?
Yeah.
Do you know, that would be. I'm not going to say that's a disadvantage, but it's more something to think about, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that, I'm going to actually touch on that in a bit as well, because that falls a lot under marketing, and that's something that you have a bit of knowledge on as well. And before we get there, actually, so again, you know, for me, for example, you know, I don't want to go and learn the technical sides of JavaScripts and CSS and all of these kind of things for building a website up from scratch. So I know obviously there are a lot of providers for websites that can build you a simple website, and you don't need to know the technical knowledge. And I think that makes it easy access for people that are looking to start businesses or starting. Obviously, a website is fundamental to having a good business or setting the foundations for a good business. So what about for people then that have been on social media? Really and truly, some of the teenagers, they never had their own website, but they've had their own social media accounts. They've had their own Instagram accounts, or Facebook accounts or Twitter accounts, whatever it is. And a lot of them, there are so many younger people that are doing way better than us in terms of social media, in terms of their followings, all of that, but they haven't converted that into a business. They haven't monetized on that, and they haven't created a website on that. So example wise, for a model, someone that is taking pictures, and you know, maybe they're 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. They're taking pictures. They're receiving good feedback, or they're getting the likes in, right? How do you go from there to turning that into money? What would you kind of advise with that? Because I've seen people do that, you know, where they've racked up 30, 40,000 followers and they're like only 18 years old. Yeah. You know, and they're decent photos. What would you do next?
Yeah, I'd say for that, you know, if you've got that much of a following, you have somewhat of credibility, you know, in whatever world you're in. Let's take modeling for an example. So from that point on, I'd go into something called S4S, shout out for shout out, you know, partnering up with, you know, fellow models who have a similar following, similar sort of style to you, you know, and creating and expanding not only on one form of social media, but, you know, also through. So if you're on Instagram, go onto Facebook, go onto YouTube, you know, create like a lookbook video, for an example, right? You know, and get people to see 3 dimensions of you. Not only just a picture, but more. The more people get to know you on different platforms and the different personalities you can exude, the more likable you become. You know, and that can accelerate your growth and more likely to get more exposure to bigger and, you know, more corporate companies. You know, and to get into the nitty gritty of things. For example, every single photo that you post, from what you're wearing, tag where you got it from. You know, if you got it from H&M, freaking out, tag it from H&M, and, you know, hopefully they can see it. That's, you know, the likelihood of that happening could be slim, but you'd rather take that chance. Do you know what I'm saying? That for me would be a starting point. Okay, I mean, even if you reversed it a little and said someone that hasn't got 40,000 followers, but, you know, someone that hasn't got 40,000 followers, but they've got maybe 2,000-3,000, and that's it. And I think that's a great idea. So working collaboratively with others, maybe in a similar field, or even in a whole different field actually as well, because a lot of models I've seen go into acting as well. And whether they're good or not, they dabble in it, and they receive kind of a good kind of return on that, with it's the return of followers, if anything. And then I guess after you've got your portfolio, after you've got, like you said, a lookbook or whatever it is, you can then tag the brands in it. And, you know, we've seen a lot of people recently who, by profession, like for example, the singing dentist. Yes. Right? Hilarious videos, funny eyebrows. Content. His eyebrows looks kind of like me, but So I mean, he's someone that is by profession a dentist, right? So he's a dentist by profession, but he clearly found a passion in also music. He found a passion in making people laugh. He started collaborating, just like you said, with other people in a similar field. Like he's got a recent song out with there's 2 comedians,
with the other 2 comedians, like Hacks and
Mr. Unknown P.
Mr. Unknown P. So he's doing exactly what we were just actually talking about, coincidentally. And then he's also got another video out. Funny, I don't know why, but he's got like 3 other, I think, Indian singers and actors in that. So I don't know if you've seen it, but that was actually with the brand Colgate, which makes sense. Because he's a dentist and he's got Colgate on it. And traditionally speaking, when you look at it from, if we weren't living like at this age 10 years ago, a dentist to go and do that would have been unfathomable. It's just weird, right? Right now we're living in an age where why not? Like, you know, he's got a passion in these things. Colgate like him. He's got the brand kind of sponsorship or the endorsement. And I'm just thinking, how many other people can do that? How many other people, even from a younger background, have done that? You know, I saw the other day with Youngen. Youngen's a huge Liverpool fan. Liverpool are sponsored by New Balance, but now Youngen's also sponsored by New Balance. You know, we've had Stormzy, we've Adidas, we've had so many different kind of endorsements, and I think it's like a huge new way for an ordinary person to take what they enjoy, what they like, and then I think businesses are being very smart about it, no?
I think I think what you're touching on is the viral aspects from somebody who goes from a nobody to, well, a somebody. So I think, let's take the singing dentist for an example. The way he went about it, he released prior videos, quite a few actually, before one actually went viral. And I think a key lesson in that is consistency. Regardless of what you do and regardless of what you're passionate about, if you're not consistent, then people are not going to follow you, you know, because people are not seeing more of you. So he kept to it. You know, he loved what he did. You know, he didn't focus on the numbers. He didn't focus on how much money he was getting, because that couldn't be monetized at the time. And then what happened was a number of big pages decided to share his video. I'm talking Unilad, you know, those sort of pages decided to share his video and get more exposure for him. That passed on and passed on and passed on. And this aspect of sharing is the biggest thing in social media. Like, and you only need one big influencer to share your video
or a
share
company
your image, or share who you are as a person for you to just get super viral. And then from there, don't become a one-hit wonder. You know, go out there and, you know, keep doing what you're doing. Hence why he's getting all these contracts. You know, you go back into viral sensations like, you know, what was her name? The Cash Me Outside girl. You know,
yes.
She rinsed the absolute honestly, like, you know, she went in on it. But then after about a year or so, where is she now? You know, you know, she makes money here and there, but, you know, she didn't double down on what works. You know, she didn't go, all right, what's next? She
became that meme and that kind of that sensation where people just copied the words. It's not like she patented it or anything. Like people are just using it for free. And it's not like she ended up working with a lot of other people. I think maybe, is it because she was really young and she didn't know how to, she wasn't guided on
let's get deep, because, like, I think one of the things, it's a lack of education, my friend. I think, you know, from the time you grow up, you grow up to be taught to be an amazing employee, not an employer. You know, like, you know, the example I used to use a long time ago was interview day. You know, the mock interview day in year 10 or year 11 that happens. You know, you sit on one side of the table and then there's a teacher or whoever it is.
You never sit on the other side of the table.
This is what I started to think. And at that point is when I started to think, you know, the system is built in such a way where, you know, you join the 99%. Why are we not sitting on the other side? Like, why are we not talking about business? Why are we not talking about finance? Why are we not talking about how to deal with our taxes, assets, and all that good stuff? You know, why are we not talk about how to use the internet to create a business? I mean, especially coming from an educational background as well. You know, for myself, I've noticed it's not even just regarding money and finances and tax, which we know isn't taught in a way that 10, 20 years later would be happy about it with, but also just the basics. I think in terms of even some of the skills that you learn. For example, I had another podcast recording that the viewers can take a look at as well, where we spoke about students and children weren't even taught about their own rights as a citizen. What I mean by that is they don't really finish secondary school, where a lot of people don't go on, or some people don't go on, and they don't pursue stuff like politics and history. And if you don't pursue a lot of these topics, then you're gonna have to learn about the political spectrum and the left wing and the right wing and who to vote for from what mum and dad, who, if they come from a migrant background, they don't really know and understand that concept. So what ends up happening is either they have a sheep mentality and just vote a certain party, or they
they don't really know, and they follow their friends, and they follow here's the one, they follow whatever's trending, right? And what's trending is based on your interest because of the algorithms now.
Yeah.
So again, if you have a really, really left or right kind of narrative on your social media that's been promulgated from your algorithms and your cookies, then you're only going to be seeing the same thing, and then you start agreeing with the same thing. So when you go to the voting booth, you end up voting that. So yes, there is a gap, I would say, in terms of life skills. And to be honest with you, I think that's why it was one of the reasons why I actually started this show.
Okay.
Because I wanted people to gain an insight in things that they haven't gained an insight properly in, or they need more clarity in. And I think this is why it's going to be very, very useful for both younger people, but also older people. People our age, if you go and ask them the difference between left and right, they have no idea. And it's scary, especially in the political climate we're in right now. It is really scary. But I'm not going to go into the politics now.
Sure.
in terms of marketing, right?
Sure.
So you've started up your own marketing company.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Let's go into why I started a business. I think, so to give a clarity to everyone that's watching. So me and you started a business.
Yeah.
We were business partners for the best part of about 3 years, 3.5 years. And with that sort of business, I think I didn't kind of see myself doing it in the long term.
Yeah.
And I kind of understood that I need something to control for myself 100%.
Yeah.
There was a lot of logistical aspects that I could control in my previous business. So I think with that, it was also the fact that, I came to an age where I finished university, I finished the degree, got my qualification, and I wasn't in a job like everybody else.
Yeah.
And that scared the out of me, because I didn't know what to do next. You're sitting on a bed and you're thinking, everyone else is doing this whole 9 to 5 thing, but you're relaxing, and what do I do next from here? So
and a lot of people are like that, because a lot of people just graduated, maybe in a similar boat to yourself.
And this is the sad reality, albeit there's careers and there's solutions for that, but it's not useful solutions for those who are looking for something else. Especially entrepreneurship is, I'm not going to say it's looked down upon, but it's very difficult, because the downfall and the rewards are all on you. So I think that's the biggest thing people worry about, is the fact that if it messes up, that's it, this is you on the line.
I mean,
you have no one else to blame.
As a disclaimer, I'm not even I as much as I'm saying I'm an entrepreneur, and you're an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurship has a lot of benefits and stuff. I 100% do not believe entrepreneurship is for everyone.
I agree.
It's something that you're going to fail in if you go in half-heartedly, without a lack of direction, and many people do, and then what happens is there's stigma of this doesn't work. Entrepreneurship is super hard. One of the hardest things anyone will ever do.
Hell yes. Because I think people like to understand this whole delayed gratification aspect. It's 3 to 5 years of hard graft. Easy. And
some people argue it's even more. It's decades.
Exactly. That's if you're lucky, 3 to 5 years. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to get results straight away like you do in employment. I think that's because a lot of us are trained to get, okay, if we work this many hours, we should get paid this much. Whereas entrepreneurship does not work like that. That's a different dimension. That's a different ball game you're entering. So to answer your question, why I got into it, I think, it came out of fear. I was thinking what to do next. I need to come up with another idea. I need to, figure out something to call my own. 4 a.m. sitting down, chilling on my laptop.
As entrepreneurs do.
And I decided, to draw out what I know and what I'm good at.
So you kind of audited yourself.
Yeah. So and I began to figure out what skills I knew and pretty good at and I'm passionate about. So that little circle, like the middle of that Venn diagram, and that turned out to be marketing. Specifically like social media marketing. I love how that works, like the behind the scenes, the mechanics, the algorithms, and how to get someone to see what you're posting, your product or service, the way that's catered and delivered to you, but on the other end of the line, you don't think about that sort of thing. You scroll and you see something and you're like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting. But to me, I see that as, oh, how did that come over there? How did that person see that? You know what I'm saying? That got me intrigued, and that I decided to myself, like, a lot of companies out there, lack the respect for social media. You know, easily 1 billion to 1.5 billion users a month on Instagram alone. You know, you can if you harness 1% of that, you know, you're easily hitting 100 million, 10 million. Anyway, a big number is what I'm trying to say.
10 million, I think.
The 10 million. 10 million. That's a big number for, you know, people to see what you're actually posting.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of corporate companies formulated this habit of TV, radio advertising. I'm not saying that doesn't work. I'm saying that's of old age.
Yeah.
You know, and social media is free, man.
Yeah.
You know, advertising has another sense, but you know, I think it's very underrated. And I think, and that's when I decided to formulate a company where I can talk to other companies about their strategies for marketing and give them a solution about social media and take care of that. And then that's how it came about. BTMA.
So for the people that are running their own social media accounts, unprofessionally, you know, doing it by themselves. Yeah. If I was to ask you then, Vi, give me top 3 tips on social media. Someone is starting out. What would you say?
Top 3 tips for what though? Is it
to grow their social media? To grow.
Okay. First thing is consistency. I've mentioned this once before. I'll say it again. Consistency is key for social media because people need to see you and different sides of you. So use different platforms, like I say. You know, don't only stick to Instagram. Go onto Facebook, go onto YouTube. Record something you're passionate about. You know, it's more and more easier. Look, you know, you got a phone with a freaking camera in it. You know, record something. It doesn't have to be the best of quality. But it's more about what you're saying. Focus on the quality later. You know, then you can, you know, invest into, you know, cameras and like that. But like, so the first thing is consistency. Next, once you start to grow, then look out for people with a similar following to you. Then start to collaborate. You know, once you start to collaborate, then people can see you from other sides. So, for example, if you're a UK, you know, based person, and you know you partner up with something in the US, that's instantly a new market to get into. You know what I'm saying? So what were we on? Consistency, partnerships. The third thing I'd say is, I think stick to those two things. I think stick to those two for now. I think other elements you'll realize once you hit more of a following. I think if you stick to those two things,
basics,
bro, you're good. Honestly, you're good. And once you hit about 40, 50k, you know, then you start to hit about big corporate brands.
Yeah, you got your leverage.
Yeah, and then from there, you don't need someone like me to tell you what to do. You can do it yourself because you've been doing it for many, many years. Yeah, you know, and then you can think about, you know, algorithms and advertising and, you know, how to cater towards different brands and stuff like that. But
so you said, consistency is the first one, and then collaborative work with other people as well. And I think I would have just added, obviously, just not even adding on, but tying in with all of that is just content. Just constant, like different types of content, or maybe a consistent content, like something that, you know, is relatable, or, you know, just pump content.
Yeah,
you know,
that falls
video,
under, like,
audio, written, and that's the best thing. Is even if we, for example, we take the podcast, you know, this is visual. You know, at the same time, it's going to be audio as well. At the same time, I've got a transcriber who's going to turn it into a written-based blog style kind of a setting as well.
It's hitting all the senses.
Exactly.
You know,
that's a key thing. Right?
I think senses. That's for me. It's something I've promoted for the longest time, because I think that the more people can, it's like, I'll take a singer for an example. Let's take Ariana Grande. Yeah, or even Justin Bieber. The way he started out is obviously singing, you know, and he still does that here and there. Then he went into cameos in acting, for an example, in like NCIS or whatever it was, and then he went into perfumes. So you can see him, you can smell him, as weird as that sounds, and you can hear him. You know, if he releases a book, whenever that is, you can read about it.
Read it. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So the more senses people can touch into, the more in touch they are with you. And that's the key thing about this whole marketing, branding, and social media.
Awesome. Share, guys.
Share and subscribe.
So that is the 2020 podcast episode with Vi Thankaraja. I do like your surname, Thankaraja. Yeah,
Sri Lankan,
you know what?
Bro,
I'm gonna invite you back on, and we're gonna do a whole another show on
just on my surname,
roots and heritage and names, and why not? Like,
I'm so down. Let's
we'll do that.